What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the most underrated things about living in the UK. Today, I want to learn about what parts of the UK are most underappreciated. Things that are really great about the UK that don't get talked about enough, that don't get enough credit. And the way we're going to do that is by taking a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, what's an underrated thing about living in the UK? And a whole bunch of people who actually live in the UK and have some insight into this gave their answers to this question. As Brits, we quite rightfully complain about the weather, generally piss poor train punctuality. I didn't know about that one. And endless road work. Roadworks, is that all over the UK or is that certain parts? Or these are actually kind of criticisms I wasn't even aware of. But anyway, this isn't about criticisms. This is about appreciating the underrated things. But on the flip side, what are some things that are a bit underrated about living in the UK? Okay, so they're saying, okay, enough with the complaining, enough with the criticism. Let's talk about some of the great stuff about living in the UK no one talks about enough. Starting with the lack of dangerous animals and insects. You know what? I guess that is something that we take for granted, even here in the United States. I guess I take that for granted. Like the that's a very like broad statement. Like, you know what? I actually like that one. And the vast amount of safe green space, being able to go and wander anywhere without needing to worry about something deciding if you're gonna be dinner is something we take for granted. I like this guy. I like I like this comment. That is not the direction I thought this was going to go. I think we're going to get a little more specific to the UK. But that also includes the UK. The fact that it is a place where this is such a funny one. But it is something we take for granted. It is a place where you don't have to worry about being eaten by a lion or like attacked by poisonous insects. Like there are many places in the world, and I'm definitely guilty of this, that are very, very harsh living conditions, where there are animals that are dangerous wandering around. You are in danger of illness and disease, and you don't just have beautiful, safe, green space, as they put it. This happens to be something that relates to the United States as well as the UK, but that is underrated. I like that actually. Huh. It's so much more relaxing hiking knowing you aren't going to encounter a bear. Okay, there we go. Because there are parts of the United States, I'm pretty sure, where you do have to actually, like if you're going hiking, whoever does that, gosh, imagine going out and exercising and not watching YouTube. Can't even imagine. Don't understand it. But apparently some people do that. And in the United States, there are definitely regions where you have to worry about encountering wildlife. So that is true. That is something underrated about the UK in particular. Sounds like and it must have to do with that the UK is an island, huh? I haven't thought about that either. The repercussions of that. Maybe there's not a lot of like dangerous like indigenous species of bear, or are there deer? Or now I'm actually curious about that. What does the UK have dangerous animals at all? Sure, a cow. There's my answer. Sure, a cow could do you in if you wanted, but it probably won't. Okay, you have to worry about cows, and that's about it. That's funny. That's a really good point. We do have swans. Just the one swan. One swan. I don't get it. You have to look out for cows and swans in the UK as far as dangerous wildlife goes. That's good. That is an underrated feature. I like that actually. All right, moving right along with the most underrated things about living in the UK. Britain does cultural arts, music, TV, theater, film better than almost anywhere else. We're spoiled and we don't realize it. I mean, I can absolutely relate to this as well living in the United States. And Britain, absolutely. Like, it's very, for some reason, it is easy to forget how much art, music, people, huge. How much great music comes out of the UK, seriously. TV shows, theater, I don't know much about. Film, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe the UK doesn't get enough credit with that as well. So I like that immensely. What else do we have here? No earthquakes. Great perk. Are there just no earthquakes in the UK? There's earthquakes in some parts of the United States for sure. Are there just no earthquakes in the UK? Is that possible? I don't know enough about earthquakes and geology to know if I should trust this statement. That's amazing. Why are there no earthquakes in the UK? It's just this magic promised land, apparently, where there's only cows and swans. Great financial system. Okay, I wouldn't really know much about that. Great financial systems? Like banks? Like the banks in the UK? Or really great? Or I wish they had elaborated on this. Is this an underrated thing about the UK? Great financial system? Police, okay, police who like to de-escalate stuff rather than pew pew things. Okay, I feel I feel personally targeted here as as an American. This is absolutely true. Just the overall sentiment towards the police must be nice if it's overall a positive sentiment in the UK. I don't know for sure, but it's based on this comment here on this discussion. People in the UK can count on police to de-escalate. I know that police in the UK don't carry guns as much or at all. I think is very different to the United States. Yeah, yeah, don't take this for granted. Don't take that for granted. That should be something that's appreciated for sure. For sure. Oh my gosh, that was a huge still is a huge topic of discussion here in the United States, but that was huge a year or two ago. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. Let's keep going, man. Unexciting climate. Okay, that's that's an optimistic way to put it. That's a nice way to put it. Like in the beginning, the person who wrote this question was like, it's always raining. What are some good things about the UK? But this person rephrases it to be like, the climate is predictable. It's not exciting. You know what you're going to get, and it's overall good. That's what I interpret from this little comment. And for that is something that's easy to underappreciate, to be underrated. Just having like reasonably good climate most of the time. The most average climate. That like because it's easy to take that for granted for sure. There's regions of the United States that get that. And then depending on how north or south you are in the United States, you can be just hot, baking hot all year round. You can be freezing cold a lot more of the year if you're really far to the north. So having an unexciting climate, that is actually a huge perk, actually. No rabies? No rabies. Does this go back to how there's just not much dangerous wildlife in the UK? I never thought about it like that. But when I think of it as like an island that's, compared to the United States, a lot smaller, there can only be so many animals. There can only be so many threats to your existence, which is kind of nice. That is something that is underrated. That's very easy to gloss over. Just because you're used to not being chased by bears on your hikes. What is this? The Beano? The Beano. What does this mean? Is this underrated? Is this a UK thing? I have to look it up. I'm being forced to look this up. Beano. Is this like an anti-gas thing? Beano is an over-the-counter dietary supplement. used to reduce gas and bloating. Is this something else in the UK? Beano. Uh, oh, wait, here we go. The Beano is a British anthology comic magazine created by Scottish publishing company. Is any of this the Beano that is being referenced here? I have, I have no idea what this means. It's either a anti-gas medicine or a magazine. I don't know. No idea. If anyone understands that, please let me know. Moving along, unexciting, perfect place to live. Exactly. Exactly. This is a really interesting point that's being brought up. It's very easy to not acknowledge how nice it can be to be unexciting, to be normal, just kind of average temperature. Good most of the time. Good most of the time is not something you ever really stop and appreciate. But a lot of people around the world would enjoy unexciting, perfect place to live. Yes, I actually like that. That's sort of a nuanced answer, to be honest. May we live in may we live in uninteresting times. That should be a tattoo or something. That's great. That's great. Okay, moving on to even more underrated things about living in the UK. So far, these are really interesting. They have gone places I didn't even expect. So I'm actually enjoying this. This is shameful, but sometimes I buy clotted cream and eat a big spoonful of it. What on earth is clotted cream? Is it shameful? Is it like getting a big spoonful of peanut butter or ice cream? A big spoonful of clotted cream, thinking, "Oh, United Kingdom, we do know how to do our cream." Another thing to get tattooed on you as well. Oh, UK, we know how to do our cream. Clotted cream? I gotta look this up as well. What is clotted cream? English clotted cream. This is like thick cream? What? I have to type what is it? What is clotted cream? I I have no idea just based on the pictures. Clotted cream is a British topping made by heating and cooling cream or full-fat milk. The cream thickens on top and forms a yellow crust. Clotted cream has a thick, creamy consistency similar to soft cream cheese or butter. It's slightly sweet and a silky golden yellow texture. This is like getting a big spoonful of cheese or butter, or like cream cheese or butter, big spoonful, and just eating it? A spoonful? I like how they say this is shameful. I'm intrigued. I'm trying to picture this. Is this stuff so good you'd eat it raw? That is an underrated thing about the UK. I had no idea. People in the UK appreciate your clotted cream, because that's not even a thing here in the United States. I can't even imagine. Oh, what else? Custard. Also custard. No other country can do it. Also, most decadent, decent, decadent, most decent desserts are British, which is why we invested custard. Oh man, definitely appreciate your desserts. So possibly underrated in the UK, custard and clotted cream. And blackberry and apple crumble with custard. Things I had no I had no idea about these things at all. Maybe that means they are underrated, cuz as an American, I never hear about this. So I think they're underrated, just for by definition. Underappreciated. I've never heard of it. I've never had a chance to appreciate it. Okay, what else? Underrated things about living in the UK. What else? British comedy is almost unparalleled. Yes. Yes, I like this one. So basically, the way to answer what are some of the most underrated things about the UK, or what are some of the best things that the UK does that isn't talked about enough? British comedy. Although I think British comedy is appreciated, like a fair bit. Maybe not enough, but it is acknowledged as being very unique and extremely, like, so like epically quintessential British comedy is so like unique. Like there's nothing like it, and no one can really copy it. It's such a British thing, and I don't know. It's awesome, and maybe it's something that British people experience so much that it can go underrated. But the more I think about it, I think British comedy is rated. It's rated pretty highly. I also think for a pretty small island, we have a fantastic range of arts, sports, and culture. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of really amazing things that come out of the UK and amazing people for being like relatively small place. There's definitely some things to be proud of. Also, nobody does a Sunday roast or a full English slash Scottish better. Right, I had to look that up in a different video, what a full English breakfast even is. And it sounds extraordinary. Very hearty. Although it does have some weird stuff in it, I remember. Was it tomatoes or blood pudding? And anyway, I don't know how to rate that. What else do we have here? We joke about the queuing, but honestly, it is so annoying when you go abroad and they don't know how to do it. Absolutely. Absolutely great one. I love how specific some of these are getting. That is so true. Here in the United States, people are so bad at waiting in line or queuing. Man. People will act like they have never seen a queue in their life. And then it's truly something else. So yes, in the UK, I bet that's really underrated in the UK. But as an outsider, as an American looking from the outside onto the UK, I'm very jealous of the queuing, at the very good queuing discipline and understanding of how it works in the British culture. Seriously. Okay. What else do we have here? A couple more of the most underrated things about living in the UK. This is very fun. Honestly, I like the weather. I couldn't live somewhere where it's hot all the time. The novelty quickly wears off, and I find it draining. Just as I'm getting bored with the heat, autumn comes along and is lovely. So it sounds like a lot of people in these comments say the UK has some of the best, most mild, average weather that you can get anywhere in the world. It gets a bit hot, you get tired of it, it gets a bit cooler, maybe it rains a bit, and it's all good. Like, it's just good. I would take that. I would absolutely take that. Then wrap up warm for winter. Nice pub lunch by the fire. Right, then when winter comes, the UK has pubs. We don't even have pubs here in America. We don't have anything like pubs where you can snuggle in and get warm and hang out. That's like the winter remedy for the UK by the sound of it. So you have the pub. Just as you're getting sick of that, all the greenery comes out and you're back to spring. And the rain means we get plenty of greenery. I think it's pretty much spot on. So, quite a few people in these comments saying they actually really like how the UK seasonality works out. So, that's cool. I've never really heard people from the UK comment on the weather in like a very, very positive way, honestly. So, that's cool. And what else do we have? Underrated things about the UK. Digitalization coming from Germany. It's great how much I can do online and paperless, starting from immigration to healthcare to renting, online banking. America is getting there, but I hear that the UK is ahead in the whole digitalization process. I think the UK had the tappable credit cards and debit cards that you could tap, and you didn't need to slide anything stuff like that, basically. And I think the UK has online banking processes that are better too. There's just random like technology that the UK has implemented quicker that we're still slowly trying to get going here. So that's interesting. That's definitely something where if you're living in the UK, that might go kind of unnoticed, but underrated for sure. UK is actually a little more technologically savvy, from what I've seen. So, anyway, there you have it. I actually thought this was a great list of things that most of which I've never really thought about. And I imagine if you live in the UK, it's easy to not think about some of these things that are actually really, really great perks about living in the UK. Seriously, compared to anywhere else on the world, which is really interesting to hear about from an American's point of view. So, I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with what you think is some of the most underrated things about living in the UK. That'd be very interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.